Hey everybody, GForce41 here with another PGA Tour 2K25 golf course playthrough and golf design tip tutorial. This is my new course, Hessian Hollows. Actually, what I'm recording for you is my final playthrough before publishing it. It will be published before this video comes out. So I put together a new course for you, Hessian Hollows. It is a little bit of a take on Sleepy Hollow. If you've been around this game a long time, you remember I had a course that was called Hessian Hill. That was an attempt to kind of do inspired by course of this kind of Hudson River area of upstate New York. Hudson National Golf Course was actually the course that course was modeled after. So I kind of put the two together. Hessian Hill is an area just off the Hudson up in Westchester County, New York. So it is autumn in New York, as they say. I will not sing for you or you'll never watch another video for you, but please have that song in mind because I did go with the autumn themes and the colors, and so some darker themes. I know people don't like the bright kind of reds and things, but I try to work it in, so hopefully it works. All right, so this is a lot like Sleepy Hollow. It is inspired by the CB Macdonald and Raynor type courses. As well, you know, it's not just Sleepy Hollow. It's got a lot of influence by the Lido and NGLA and things like that. So it's got that CB, Macdonald, Raynor-ish kind of flair to it. It's got some templates. It's got some interesting stuff. It's along the river there. That's, you know, kind of emulating the Hudson, etc. But just like Sleepy Hollow, by the way, this is the number 4 hole location. The wind is southeast and medium. I think southeast is going to be the best kind of most representative wind, kind of the wind coming off the water there. If you remember Sleepy Hollow, it was featured in my first, or one of my first big videos ever, the Making Your Greens Look Natural video. You go down the hill and it fades off to the water, and the green all breaks to the water. And I use that green. You can see this green breaks to the water. How an old school green uses a natural landscape to use the shape and the contours and the drainage of the older greens. Everything kind of flows towards the water as you would expect. And a lot of newer designers missed that whole concept. The green's going all over the place half the time. So this was actually just a little bit of a take on that first hole on Sleepy Hollow. When I do an inspire by, like I said on some of my quick tip videos, it's just inspire by. It's just an idea, a thought. Greens you can see are running at 168. You know, I don't do it exact. It's not an RCR. I don't want to make everything exact. Use your imagination. Have some fun with it. And that's what I did here. I just had some fun with the concepts, the ideas, and you're going to see some familiar templates. And you're going to see one real soon. Because there it is. There's the short. It's number 2 hole. Some people know it as the thumbprint kind of green. There it is. Looks pretty good in the light. That's one of the other reasons I went to low light. Just check out some of these contours. It is autumn. There is low light in autumn in the fall. And so hopefully it works and it'll have some fun. The number 1 hole location is also in the thumbprint here. I haven't done a good job of getting a good shot off of the hill there and bringing it back in a while. You can do that if you're handy. I wanted this to be a little shorter, but the green was bigger than I wanted, and I just didn't want to redo it. So you get 2 of these. Come on now. Come back down. Come back down. Oh, I just missed it. So the par 3s are very similar in distance on the front, which you should usually avoid. Just so you know, they're both about 150, 160. Some longer ones in the back. The greens are all pretty smooth. You know, 168 works. I went up to the very fast, which is like 203 or something. It was a little crazy. Most of the greens will hold up. Some of them won't. But playable at that speed. You'll see what I mean. So some pretty lighting. So I want these kind of golden tones. Uphill par 3. Now you had to turn it around. Now I wanted to do something fun with the routing. The routing is similar to Sleepy Hollow, but this kind of wraps around the clubhouse. And you'll see at the turn what I mean. So I had to go back up the hill because I built a big hill. Everything goes down to the hill like you would imagine. And there are holes along the water coming down the back. Second 9 or the back 9, whichever you prefer. Now this is kind of a cool one because if you're long, you can go over here. So again, it's about choices, decisions, and options. 50 feet up, but you got the wind at your back. So long hitters, you'll be able to take this carry and come at it this way, which is usually preferred in most of these hole locations. With this hole, you could also go over here. Okay, this whole location actually isn't bad. Let me show you that again. For coming up this side, right? Because you got a little bit of a backstop there, so you're pretty good coming at this hole either way. So you pick your approach on this one. Again, options: small center line bunker. Keep those center line bunkers small. Do not make them too big, like I used to do in the early days. But I'm just going to show you this way, so you see if you can get it up that hill. 291. Can he do it with the wind at my back? It's probably going to bounce and roll up there, if anything. There you go. So you longer hitters will have no problem clearing that. And there you got a nice little angle in, and you still got the backstop right over there. Just going to straighten that a little. So choices, decisions, okay? See a lot more strategy on this course than my last one. My last one was very kind of plain on purpose, very playable. Oh, I didn't get enough of it, and I sucked it back off the green. Okay, uphill greens, yes, they kind of fall towards the fairway a little. You're just going to notice that on a uphill green. It's called the laws of physics, folks. Some people will whine about false fronts. It's not really a false front. You can see how most of these greens are rolling very nice, especially around the greens. I think 168 is a perfect speed. Got 2 bogeys on my own hole. I've been playing this thing over and over again, getting it ready for you. There you see the 9th, lion's mouth. So you see some classic templates will rear their heads, literally, a lion's mouth, right? I went easy on the cameras. I wasn't going to do them, and then I realized, you know what? Take it easy. I don't have too many preview cameras because these are pretty good. I like these, that the game kind of comes up with themselves. But the in-between menu cameras, the lower third cameras, low and slow. That's my advice. All right, so this is interesting. There's not a lot of magic to this one. I just thought this was scenic. Again, I'm mimicking Sleepy Hollow a little bit, where 1 and 2, and then there's the third hole, kind of wrap around and go towards the back behind the clubhouse. Same kind of idea here. I just wanted to show off kind of some scenery here. Now this is a little greener. I've got a lot of golden tones in, but I mixed it. I don't want it to be the same thing over and over and over in every hole. So you see some greenery here on the grass. It gets more golden as you go along. And especially towards the water, it's a little greener, right? Because there's more water, you'd expect more green. But I just had some fun with it. So you could kind of sneak one on the right side. And this is not a bad idea, because this whole location, one of the reasons I picked 4 is because I think they're the more interesting, not necessarily the harder hole locations. Over here is usually where you're going to go, because you don't want to be stuck behind that tree necessarily. But look what you got here. You don't have a lot of room to mess with, and you got those bunkers over there, so you do kind of want to be over here, and you got the wind at your back. So this might not be a bad idea for either a 3-wood or a choked tee shot. I'm gonna just choke it and pull it back just a smidge. You want to keep it a little right. You don't want to go too far. So again, just subtle little decisions, different ways to play the hole. Keep it fun and interesting. Don't make it too crazy. Since this is, you can really bomb one down that left side. This green is a little bit more intricate than most. I'd say probably the most intricate. Most of them just kind of have general slopes and sections. 20 feet up, 8 miles an hour. I'm just going to pull it back a smidge and put a little bit of spin on it. See how that's going to do. I'm going to try to let the replays go. I fast forward a lot. I think that takes away from the game a lot. All right, where am I going? Oh, nope, just too much. Tap in par. Good stuff. That is 8 coming up. So you can see how the low and slow kind of works. Just 2 cameras on most of those. And very inner camera speed, set it to lerp, and like those are all like 6. Some of them maybe a little, the larger spaces were 7, and some were even 5. Okay, all right, 5th hole, the second par 3, kind of over a quarry area. There's a similar type hole. I think it's the third. You hit over a quarry area. There's a bridge and everything in Sleepy Hollow. So that was kind of my take on this. This is kind of a square or rectangular shaped green with 4 sections. You know, top left, top right, bottom left, right, etc. Again, just adding to the ambiance with kind of adding the quarry and the plantings and all that kind of stuff. Just make it realistic. You know, it's kind of random, but I feel like the random stuff makes it more realistic and more organic, as Chelsea would like to say. I used to always use that word for my courses. Very organic, which I felt was a very big compliment. And there you go. Simple stuff. You put it in the correct section, and you got a pretty good shot at bird. There you go. There's a nice little bird. There you can see I worked in the browns and the golden colors a lot. Those really work, and that's what I stuck with more towards the end of the course, other than kind of down by the water. Now, the 6th hole emulates, is it the 5th or 6th? Sleepy Hollow, where the green is the high point of the course. That was actually in my video. The real 5th green of, well, the RCR real 5th green of Sleepy Hollow. I think it's 5. That's the high point. I use that as a plateau to describe, again, you know, using the natural contours to make your greens look natural. So this is where you're starting to see some of that Raynor-esque kind of stuff coming in. These bunkers are all a little bit kind of square and rectangular and oblong, a little unique, you know, not just perfect circles. Can I get it over that lip? I got plenty of room. I can go 3-iron. There you go. If you get stuck in that corner, you're in big trouble with this green. Trust me. I've tested the course enough to know. And what I did is I tested. I'm playing on Pro. I think I was testing it on Master because I don't play Master at all. You know, the first few rounds were on Pro-Am or something like that, just to get a feel for the course, see if it works. And then I do Master because, you know, I want to be all over the course and hit from different spots to make sure I'm doing a thorough job in reviewing my course before releasing it to you all. So that's my other bit of it, course design advice. Play your course, play your course from different, not only different pins. Okay, that was a terrible putt. But play it, you know, on a challenging setting. If you're, especially on a, you know, if you're used to playing on Pro or Pro-Am, play on the more difficult swing settings. So you're hitting bad shots and hitting from bad places, hitting out of bunkers, hitting recovery shots. Make sure that kind of works. That's the third. That's a view from the third out to the rest of the course. The first green back there. Here you see some of that planting, that golden color, the newer golden grasses worked really well here. And then off to the left, you see some of the older grasses. Those worked absolutely fine. Some of those no greener ones, they don't work, I don't think, as well, even though you can change them with the surface weathering. Just, nah, it didn't work for this. There's a little bit of that in here, but not much. But you can see this tree line looks pretty good, especially off to the left. Those golden tones and the brownish tones, I think, are pretty realistic and pretty nice. And, you know, I wanted to sprinkle in some of the reds, too, some of the deeper reds. So I like these colors. A lot of people use any type of fall or autumn theme that they make it a little bit more muted. But, hell, I just decided to have some fun. So, again, some decisions here. You can carry this with the wind. It's a bit of a challenge. Pick your side. These two par 5s in the front are back-to-back. They're kind of blends. There's not one hole that they're modeled after, but they're kind of a blend of the par 5s on NGLA, the Lido, and maybe a little bit of Sleepy Hollow, but one of them's the next one's more of a long template. It's the long hole. It's almost 600 yards. But this one is meant to be, you know, with the wind kind of at our back like it is here. You're going to be able to get there. It's uphill, but you're going to have that crazy, you know, hazard right here in the middle. Now, if the wind's in your face or you miss the fairway, you're going to have some trouble. You're going to have a decision. But here it just adds to the visual. You're going to have a blind shot, right? And that's on purpose. So we talk about blind shots all the time. You can have them if it's intentional. Guess what, everybody? Here's an intentional one, okay? So you got to know where you are and you got to clear that thing. Now imagine playing this in real life. That's going to be a big pain in your new, you know what. So you kind of want to know where you have to kick the field goal. There's trees on either side on purpose. Pick out where you want to go over this thing, right? If you were playing it for real, you're not going to have the zoom cam like we do, which makes it really easy. But again, I want these to be realistic. Pretty good. So again, my courses are made to be versatile. With this wind, the par 5s on the front here are going to play easier. Switch that wind up and in your face, they are not going to be reachable, especially the next one. Then it becomes a 3-shot hole, and you'll see why it's, I think, fairly interesting hole. Oh, that's a look at the 5th green and the quarry from behind the green. So now you can see we're wrapping around the clubhouse, right? We went out from the clubhouse, down and around, and we're wrapping around the back of it. Okay, so this is the long. Oh, I gotta fix the spline. Make a note. I don't know why the spline is off. That should default to the driver, definitely here. So I gotta fix the spline. And there you go, a little center line bunker. It's a little bit of crescent shape, a little bit unique. You've got room on either side. You can kind of thread the needle here, but you got this bad boy over here, and you can go over here. There's no threat of a second bunker, but whoops. Let's take a look up by the green. Well, there you go. You've got to carry those. Okay, so you can do that depending on the wind or what have you, but you're going to have some trouble. So the decision here is, number one, which side do you want to come at the hole from? So this one, I think, is pretty interesting because you can come at it from either side, right? It's not up on that upper deck and you've got a little bit of backstop, but you don't have much room in front of it. So you do have to run one up there. So do you want to try to carry those bunkers, or do you want to go over here and come at it from this side? Right? And especially, obviously I've got a pin off to the right, a pin or two. I think there's one other pin more left than this, and two of them are kind of, one is in the middle on that tier and one's on the right. So again, depending on where that hole is going to dictate what side you want to be on and whether you want to carry those bunkers. Now you don't really want to carry the bunkers, but now you got to deal with this guy on this side, right? So that's it. So it's a decision. Again, just fun strategy, simple stuff. And of course, you're going to pull a tee shot because I'm not used to playing on the more difficult swing speed. Or this, I'm used to playing on pro, so I shouldn't say that. Do I have it on master? I thought I switched it off of master. I don't know why I'm missing by that much. But with the wind behind your back, you can see it's no problem to carry, although you've got 31 feet uphill, okay? So I'm going to keep this straight. You've got the uphill to deal with, so it's just barely going to make it. There you go. And now you've got plenty of room. It's going to run and bounce up there, but we've got the backboard to come on down. You are the next contestant on... The price is definitely right on that one. There you go. Fun little hole. Or fun long hole. It's the longest hole in the course. I shouldn't say little. Take the tap-in eagle any day. Gets me back to 1 under. Okay, that's 14. All right, template alert. This is a lion's mouth. Just a note on the tee box. I redid the tee box because when I put in a second set of tees, I moved this one back a little. Do not block your view. I talk a lot on quick tips about show off your work. This is an example of it. You can't have a giantly long tee box. If this tee box was off to the left behind the blacks, which you can see off to the side, the tee box would be in front of you and you wouldn't be able to see the fairway of the bunkers at all. So what I did was I redid the whole tee box, even though I finished the whole thing at the planting, and I added this section over here, and I lowered it, and I made it L-shaped, okay? And then you lower the section in front of you, so you have now a unique shaped tee box. It's L-shaped, a little bit different angle between the two tees, and now you just throw some planting in underneath it. That just adds to the look and the feel of it. And honestly, it took me about 20 minutes to fix it. No big deal. But that's just an example of showing off your work. Use the tools that you have in front of you to add to the course, because most of you new designers just make these big, long, rectangular tee boxes, and you can't see what's in front of you. Okay, so you can see the fairway, you can see the bunkers. This bunker's in the shadow a little bit, just because there's just so much you can do with the trees. You got to have the trees fairly close. With the low sun angle, it's just it's a trade-off. Okay, so there's the lion's mouth. Just anybody who's not familiar with golf tech architecture, that green in the middle is I'm sorry, the bunker in the middle of the green and the kind of arms and legs coming down is known as the lion's mouth. And the trick here is, what angle do you want to come at it from? This is right behind it, so kind of choose your poison. The greens wound up a little bigger than I thought, and I liked it so much I just didn't want to redo it. So the strategy here isn't as prevalent as I had wanted it to be. So a lot of times these greens are pretty tricky. They're maybe a little smaller than this one came out. I should have measured perhaps a little bit more carefully. And these things are just not pinnable, right? Usually right down in here. Those are kind of legit false fronts. Or you can make those pinnable if you want. But here it's, do you want to traverse this bunker from the left, or do you want to come out usually this way? And that's usually the difference. Here it's the 4-hole location, smack in the middle. So you're going to have to deal with that bunker either way. There you see the clubhouse right there. So I wrapped this around the clubhouse, and you'll see in a second. Or maybe it won't. See 5 in the distance there. Try to keep it wide open. It's 12. We're off by the side here of the clubhouse. You can see... Let me see if I can go up for you. See, there's the clubhouse. There's the 9th hole. And I got a little driveway and stuff coming up in there. One thing you want... And there's a parking lot way over there. So you could drive up and drop your stuff off and go park. I didn't think that one through as much as I usually do, but another thing, if you want to kind of keep it real, is have a way to get it in and out of your clubhouse. And I just realized I had wrapped the course around the clubhouse. But anyway, fun downhill par 4, the 10th hole. It's a bit of an Alps hole. Again, you'll see intentional semi-blind shot into the 10th hole. There's a big bunker over here to carry on the left, and then if you really want to take it easy and go off to the right, you could definitely tumble into that little kind of bunkerless bunker down there on the right. So we're going to hit a little bit of a draw. That looks perfect. A little club twirl from Cyberjack. There we go. Softer conditions on the fairways. These are at normal. Thank you, Ivy Mike. Ivy Mike is one of our rangers, one of our longtime members of Casuals Golf Club, and he points out that a lot of the newer courses and designs, especially even the better designers, too firm. Everything's very firm, or like very firm fairways, and not particularly realistic for most courses. And that's a great point. Everything can't be firm. I know people want it firm and fast, but not everything's the U.S. Open. So here you see the Alps hole is usually fronted by a big hill, similar to what you saw on 8, but it has a Sahara bunker on the other side, and is very close to the green. So this is kind of a semi-blind shot. It's usually more of a punch bowl, but this is just my take on it. So again, the templates are there. They're just that, a template to use for fun. Okay? They don't have to be exact. Just do what you want with them. Just have some key characteristics. I love the Alps holes. I've used them a lot. So I thought this was just an interesting little spot for an interesting little take. So this is slightly punch bowling, not really a punch bowl, but again, just kind of moves in one general direction down towards the water. So I hope you think the trees and the tree line worked. I like the kind of this fall and autumn setting. So you can see there's some green grass I mixed in. That was 4 again. All right, now it gets interesting. Template alert again. This is a maiden hole. I have never done a maiden hole. Now it's different than a double plateau, and this is 3 wood is there. That's kind of on purpose. This fairway spline. I don't know that I was going to default it. I'm going to take a look. I might be able to fix that one too. This is a maiden hole, and the characteristics of the maiden hole are basically 2 plateaus. It's different than a double plateau. Why? Because you get the 2 plateaus in the back, and then you got the flat front section. So that's a little bit different than a double plateau, which is L-shaped. And we'll see a double plateau before we go today. But I wanted this to be strategic. I put bunkers kind of all around. It goes down to the water. I just think it looked really cool leading to the water. And look, you, again, show off your work, right? Now this tee box, not bad. You can see the bunkers in front of it. You can see the hole. And I just love the way that the shadow comes across the tee box, but the sun is shining right on the green. So you look right down onto the green, and there's just nothing but a whole lot of trouble in between. So again, you got to shape your shot in between these two. The wind is in our face this way. That is with the southeast setting. And so you can carry that right bunker if the wind's behind you. You can thread the needle. You can lay up short of the bunker on the left. Either way. Now, obviously, this gives you some good options. Obviously, there's a pin over there, there's a pin down here. I think I don't know if I have 2 pins down here and 2 in one of these. But now you got trouble either way, right? Behind the hole, you fall down into that kind of like rocky, grassy, slopey area, which is all green, right? That's why it's by the water. And there's OB past there, right? Now, in this game, does the OB matter? Not so much. It's really not going to come to play for most of us. But in real life, do you think that'd come into play? Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah, right? You skull one over the green. See you later. Use the surface painting, the terrain painting, I should say, for the sand. Makes the beachy areas a little more approachable, shall we say. Simpler, better looking, more natural. All right. Going to 12 in a second. That's 8 from the front. All right, another par 3. This one's about $190, give or take. This one's kind of going across, and it's got 2 tiers a little bit. A little bit of a take on, I think it's the 9th or 10th hole at Sleepy Hollow, but I wanted something going across water. Got a little bunker in front here, and this isn't a template. This is just a general kind of hole. And I was going to go with the figure 8, but I don't think the figure 8 blended with the rest of the course. Just a fun little hole because it's kind of like 2 greens. You got 2 sections, one there, and it's surrounded by bunkers. You got some water, and I needed a bridge, so I had a big expanse, and I said, let me try some of the new bridge stuff. So that's like a pavilion. You can imagine you could have bands and fun things out there, and not that anybody wants to listen to a band while they're playing golf necessarily, but why not have some fun with it? You can have events at night out there, go for a walk, people hanging out. Place to relax. Just wanted to use some of the new assets. So you can bounce one off the hill, so you can see. I think I actually got a hole right about there. Just something unique and different to look at. Look at that. It's a nice smooth roll, right? 2 under. On the pars, they say up here. That's 6 looking down towards the rest of the course. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 greens in that picture, at least. So I picked that. This is a special one. This is modeled after the channel hole in the Lido. Lido, I don't know what number it's like 5 or something in the Lido. But not so fast. Don't just grip and rip here because you got a fairway over here, people. Okay, so it's kind of a flip of the Lido. The Lido bends around the water the other way, and it's got that little kind of runway of a green over here. and the green is directly ahead of it. Now, what's the point? Well, let's look up at the green, right? Because if you go on this side, you're going straight on to the green. I mean, you're going straight at it, okay? If you're over here, you're kind of going in at an angle and everything takes you off to the left. Okay, so this whole location, it's a lot easier to come from that side and roll it down. As a matter of fact, the right side is the preferable side. But if you got a pin on that right side, it's much easier to go at it from the left fairway. Okay, so the 4-hole location, this is probably not a good option. You've got more room on this one, by the way. So this one runs out a little bit. Again, that's on purpose. Make you think about it. It's going to depend on the wind and the pin. So that's the whole point. You play this thing more than one time, you should play it a little different. And that's another reason I don't want the fairways too firm. So you want everything blowing through. I didn't think that would blow through at all. And we got some wind, so we're just gonna... Whoops. Oh, I didn't look. I didn't look. My swing mechanic had changed. I didn't look. So yeah, there it's a hazard, and then it is OB off to the left. I did put OB out there for real. But we still got plenty of opportunity for the bird, as they say. Come on down. Put some houses out around the water just for realism. I actually had a ton. I don't think I'm over 50 on the meter, if you can believe it. Even with all these trees. There you go. Part of the secret is use the auto trees around the perimeter where that it's off the course, out of the visible view of the course. That is like free trees. Okay? And then clear them out over the course with the brush. And then put your trees around the visible area of your course. That just saves you a lot of unnecessary meter usage. All right, so this is a reverse Redan. 14 is very similar. Actually, my last course had a reverse Redan, and I think it was 14 also. But there was a big, huge reverse Redan at Sleepy Hollow, so I wanted to throw one in here, and it just fit in. I needed another par 3, and I needed a par 3 right around here. And so, believe it or not, I have a video, a short out. Take a look. This works. I showed you hole location 1, how you can use the hill, bring it right back. And you can definitely use the hill here to bring it in to this whole location 4. You've got a ramp right there, right here. So if you get this just right, it's going to work. Trust me. Let's see what I can do. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. What's it going to do for me? It's a little high. It's going to come back down. It's going to stay up. Switch the camera for you, but you can see, there you go. Brings it right in there. Ta-da! Then you can see the planting again, a mix. Now I got a little mix of the green and the gold, right? Because again, it's the water. It's very kind of greenish still. There you go. The reverse Redan works. Trust me. All right. This is another par 5, a short 5. 15, I need a 5. And you know what I was thinking a little bit? I was thinking, I gotta admit, a little bit Augusta-like on this, just on the approach. You see the green. You can see it up there. But a little bit, you know, kind of same concept here. Just put a bunker right in the way of where you really want to be, which is over here. And then you got a bunker or two over here. So you can thread the needle if you wish. You can lay up short of the big bunker. Most people, this is such a short hole, there's no way in this game people are laying up. But for real, you could see people just taking it off short of that bunker on the left and laying up in front of the water. No one's going to do that in this game. Unless you hit a bad shot, obviously. So I gave you a little bit of help here if you wanted to kind of lay up over here to this side, have a short game shot. You got a pretty severe drop into this water here. I did that on purpose. I got to have some teeth on this hole. And we'll see. From here, 240 with the wind's going to be a little much. I think we're just going to hit a little choked approach. Put a little grass on these bunkers. Not all of them, just a few. Liven it up. Those red bushes you see there really helped with some of the scenery around the tee boxes. Come on down. A little tapping bird. Take that action. There you go, overhead. 13 and 14. All right, pretty behind tee scene. You got the green right behind you. I can't tell actually which green that is. 16 is going up the hill. A little bit of a cape hole. Not quite a cape. Now, a cape, people think it's water. Yeah, it is usually. But you could still use the same concept. Curve a fairway that curves around a hazard. Here, it's just high rough and brush. Really a good place to lose your ball in real life. And this, the other great thing about this game is you can never lose a ball. You're always going to be able to find it in that stuff. But around here, that's not always the case. There's a lot of those areas in New England, and you hit it in there, and you think you should find the dang ball, and you just can't do it. And you got to pull it out, or if it's marked as a hazard, you can take the drop -1. If not, it's a lost ball. When you're playing for real, that is the real deal. That is the worst thing that can happen, lost ball or OB, because it's stroke and distance. So it would be the equivalent of a 2-stroke penalty. You take the 2-stroker. Now you can take the 2-stroker with USGA rules. We always play that in my real life golf club. 2-stroke penalty on a lost ball, rather than going back and re-hitting, because you lose stroke and distance. All right, simple little hole. One of the trickier greens. That was the smallest green on the course. And now we have 17, the final real template. This is a double plateau. We were talking about a double plateau before. Again, they're a little bit more L-shaped with, this isn't quite an L, but you can see there's one plateau in the top and one off on the right. And then in between, in the corner, is usually the low point. Okay, so it's different shapes and sizes and variations of it. And there's also a principal nose bunker on these holes. They're usually long 4s. And the principal nose is about 60 or 50, 60 yards from the green. Believe it or not, this one is pretty close to, it's maybe 60 or 70. But it's going to be interesting because when you wind at your back and the forward tees, you can hit into the principal nose bunker. So again, it's, do you lay back in here? Or do you thread the needle? And which side do you want to attack these greens from? Sorry, let's take a look at the green again. Right, so from this side, you pretty much want to go straight on rather than across. You're better off on the left on that lower section, etc. There you go. Members bounce or designers bounce, right? I knew that was there. Not. And he pushed it, and it's heavily guarded by bunkers, as most of these holes are. Now you're short-sided yourself. Stop this one from the rough. Good luck. You're going to have to flop one. And let's see what happens here. Came across it a little bit, and it might not hold. So you can see how these are bogeys or double bogeys waiting to happen. Threw that in there at the 17th, just for that reason. Simple hole if you hit the right section of the green. If not, you're going to have a little short game trouble, like I'm having here. There you go. Now again, risk of, did I do it again? Oh dear. Oh, I'm getting burnt on my own hole. Can you believe it? Actually, it's kind of good that I show you that. And I'm going by again. Not bad. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There we go. So he takes the big number on 17. Dear God, my own hole, my own course. Cyberjack is not too happy. Here you see the maiden. Alright, this one I had some fun with. I had to go back up the hill, and I realized it was just a long, straight, kind of boring hole. But there was definitely a little bit of a cliff here. Is it really just, just my sculpting had really jumped up from one level to the other. And I said, why not just make that a cutoff and really cut into that terrain and make it two sections? So it was just a little ingenuity. Made it like a rocky kind of section where you can hit that second level if you're long. Whoops. And the wind is at your back. It's definitely a go today. Wind in your face, shorter hitter. You're going to have trouble carrying, but I gave you some help over here. You can reach this section perhaps, but if you do that, you have a chance of going in that bunker over there. Or you can kind of play safe and go right down in here and go up to the fairway there, which is just kind of split with the spine right up the middle. Bunker on the left and bunkerless bunker on the right. Today with the wind, not a problem. We are going for it. Hit a good one. It should be right up there. So again, you can see how this course is going to play way different in different winds. Especially to this back. It's a $190 still. So it is a long, long 4. A lot of uphill shots. So it's going to play fairly long. Didn't get that one close. So it's a pretty fair test on the last hole. Would not quite call it a birdie hole. That's for sure. All right, there you have it. Hessian Hollows, my latest, out now on PGA Tour 2K25. And it will be featured soon in Casuals Golf Club. Why? Because I picked the courses. So you're damn right I'm going to put my own course in there. So look for it soon. But hey, thank you so much for watching, for your continued loyalty to the channel. Please interact. Leave me comments below. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear about? Give me course suggestions. If you want me to play your course on Quick Tips, drop that in the comments. All right, so thank you for joining us today. That's all for today. Bye for now.